Hey, what's up everybody, this is Muth24, and today I'm going to be continuing my look at the MG God Gundam. I'm going to start off here with the poseability section, and then move on to the weapons and accessories of this kit. Now, despite how old this kit is, you do get some decent poseability with it. I'm going to start off here with the shoulders, and the chest does flip in just like it does on the Shining Gundam. The reason for that is if you want to get his arms to cross in front, then he can, have his arms crossed like that or something. But anyways, the shoulders, you have a joint here that flips out quite a ways, and then you also have this rotation joint here. You can get the arms to go up and out like that. You can get them to rotate below the shoulder, which looks kind of goofy right now because the shoulder is moving with it. If I can get that to go back down. The elbows... Oh, this hand just popped out on me. That doesn't usually happen, but the elbows can go basically 180, just a little bit shy, just because of the way the gauntlets are built. If you get the gauntlets to extend, you shouldn't have a problem getting them to go all the way there. Stuff is falling off on me that usually doesn't. I apologize for that. The gauntlets here, when you put them into hyper mode, can extend outward, and they actually stay better when they're extended than they do when they are just normally relaxed, and that's because there's this double joint system in here that allows them to go forward, and it just kind of wants to go downward with the gravity. So if you want them in hyper mode most of the time, that's going to be, I think, beneficial. It's not going to be a real hindrance if you don't want them in hyper mode that much, though. You can get those claws to extend. Those are one piece, and I can't think of really any way that you would be able to separate them into two separate claws without some heavy modification. They are just basically one piece. The head can go up and down. You can do the chicken bob. Can wobble all over the place. It really can't go 360 because of these machine guns in the way. Each of those will flip up and open, so you get those to show off. The chest piece does flip open, and you've got the jewel in there, and you probably can't see it on camera, but there is a very small King of Hearts logo inside of there. So that's really cool. I like that attention to detail there. As far as the waist is concerned, get his arms out of the way a little bit. You can get it to wobble quite a bit. You can get it to rotate pretty good back and forth as long as you don't have these beam saber handles in the way. I'm going to pop that out a second. You can't get them to go 360 or anything just because of the way the skirt armor comes up. The front skirts can actually flip up all the way like that if you want them to. The side skirts can flip out about that far. Really can't wiggle back and forth though, which is kind of odd because the front skirts can. The back skirt can go up just a little ways to allow for some more dynamic posing, but they're not really going to move that far, and this is kind of a thing with all of the older master grades that they don't really do that much. So the front, or bending forward, the legs will go about that far. Bending backwards, they will go about that far. It's decent. And then going out to the sides, you can get them to go about that far, which isn't too bad. The knees will bend about that far, not quite a 180, but you do get some nice appearance there with the pistons inside of the legs. Nothing as advanced as the newer kits, but it's decent for its time. The feet will wiggle all over the place. The ankle guards are pretty loose, I find. And then the feet will flip up like that, and you do have this rubber stuff on the bottom of the feet as well. It tends to stay pretty well, though. I do find that's the case. You can also get them to pose downward like that if you had them on some sort of an action base, you want them jumping or something. You do get these vents on the back of the legs, which will open up for hyper mode. And you got some nice detail in there. It's all gray, so if you wanted to go ahead and paint that, it would probably look better, but not too bad. And then the core lander has these little thrusters on the back. Those don't really move, but the wings, or whatever these are supposed to be, those will all flip up for his hyper mode, and then he looks a lot cooler that way. You can remove the core lander from the back of the Gundam, and all you're going to have to do is flip that up. The cockpit will open, and you can see the pilot figure inside of there. There's some nice detail here with all the lines running along the sides of it, and the boosters in the back, and the color differences. Just some really great details overall on this, even though it is basically just blue, white, and red. Now this Corelander for the God Gundam is pretty big. You can just see how much the wings add to the side of it. But I have it compared with the Shining Gundam's Corelander over here, the Core Fighter to the Gundam 2.0, and even the Turn A Gundam's Crotch Fighter there. Just see how big this thing really is. Now, as you saw earlier, there are two beam saber handles that go on either side skirt, and these are pretty basic. You just get this rectangular handle here with a green blade for either one, and these blades do come curved in the packaging, so they're not going to just automatically bend when you start cutting them off the plastic. They're meant to be that way. The only thing I do notice is that these are kind of tricky to get out of the handle sometimes. They stick in really well and stay, which is good. It's just that when you pull them out, the green plastic is really stuck in there pretty well, and sometimes the beam saber handle will break off. And it's easy enough to fix it. It's just kind of a bit tricky to get out of there sometimes. And once you put the burning finger hands on, they look really cool. Really draws out how different this kit is than most other Master Grades, just with those clear orange pieces there. So can I recommend the Master Grade God Gundam? Well, part of it's going to have to do with how much you like the design of the kit. And if you notice here next to the more classic sci-fi 80s stylized design of the Mark II, he's a lot more mechanical looking, a lot more heavily detailed in terms of all the little stickers and indents and markings across him, as opposed to the God Gundam, which is a little bit more streamlined of a design, I guess you could say. He's got more rounded bits on the shoulders there, and he's just an overall more colorful mobile suit. He's definitely going for that action, somewhat cartoony design compared to the more realistic approach of the Mark II there. Another factor you might want to consider is just the fact that the God Gundam does not come with many weapons at all. It's basically the beam sabers and then the Corelander, if you want to count that as an accessory, as well as the burning finger hands. When compared to something like a 4,200 yen kit where, like the Crossbone Gundam over here with full cloth, where you have just a ton of different weapons to go with. And it is a newer kit, so it's going to have a little bit better poseability, a little bit better detail, and more pieces to work with. At the same time, this one is a 2,500 yen kit, so roughly $25 US. And if you're looking at, say, the God Gundam Master Grade versus the God Gundam High Grade, it's really only a few dollars difference between the two to get the Master Grade over the High Grade version. One of the things that really won me over about the Shining Gundam was the fact that he's just so poseable. You can pull off a ton of different action poses, and the fact that you can get him to stand on one foot is great. And it's really no different with the God Gundam. He can just pull off a ton of different cool poses, and I think that's one really great selling point for this kit, considering how old it is. You have some other kits from the same era, like the RX-79, which is only like a year older than this either of these kits, and it really can't do nearly as much in terms of poseability. So my recommendation would be yes, I can highly recommend this kit, because despite the fact that it isn't quite up to par with some of the older kits, it is really impressive for its age and for how inexpensive it is. You get a lot of nice colors with this kit, a lot of nice poseability out of it, some pretty basic weapons and accessories, but you know, I think it's justified with the price tag on this kit. So if you're a fan of G Gundam or the God Gundam's design in general, I'd just say go get this kit. I really don't think you're going to be disappointed with it. So that's pretty much it for this review, and with that, I will see you guys next time.